Tank cleanout is very important for applicators to keep in mind, primarily because you want to avoid having any contaminants in the spray equipment, either as you're coming in to spray an Enlist herbicide or when you're done spraying Enlist herbicides. You want to make sure you get everything out before you move on to other crops and other cropping systems. So let's kind of take this all in sequence. Starting clean. As you come into an Enlist field, make sure that all your equipment is clean. You don't have any residual, say, corn herbicides or even dicamba, things that might be damaging to the Enlist soybeans themselves. And so follow those label directions, and always that's a good start, is to have good clean equipment before you begin your Enlist herbicide applications. Now, once you're done spraying Enlist herbicides, say you're done, you're wrapped up, and now you're going to move on to other crops, you're going to utilize other herbicides, it's time to clean out the Enlist herbicides out of your equipment. So while the specific directions are in the label and in the product use guide, for the purposes of this discussion, just want to hit a couple of the high points. Get that clean out done as soon as is practical after you're done spraying. You really want to avoid letting everything sit in that tank overnight if at all possible. The second big concept is to triple rinse. As you read through the detailed directions and instructions, you'll see that it's a triple rinse process. Very common for a lot of herbicides, and that's going to be true for Enlist as well. If you do like to use a tank cleaner, that's perfectly okay. We just ask that you do that on the second tank rinse. And then the last big concept to keep in mind is don't just rinse out the sprayer and the main tank and figure that's done. You want to make sure you get all parts and components of the system. So that's the main tank, of course, but that includes things like your pumps, your filters, your screens, nozzles, the boom ends. A lot of sprayers have removable boom ends, so you can kind of get rid of that eddy that's there. Just make sure that the entire system is cleaned out. And lastly, that also goes true for any other equipment that might have handled Enlist herbicides, such as a tender tank, maybe any transfer equipment. You want to make sure that's all good and clean as well before you move on to other cropping systems. So remember, start with a clean tank. When you're done spraying Enlist herbicides, clean it out as soon as possible, triple rinse, make sure you get all components both for the sprayer itself and any equipment that was used to service that sprayer. And as always, more information is available on enlist.com.